Hi, everyone. Welcome to the video series, Transforming Your Practice with AI. This video is about how to use Legion to generate a complaint. My name is Katie Young. I'm the founder and managing partner of Legion.Law Group in San Francisco, and I'm showing you in this series of videos what tools I've used to transform my practice. I'm here today with the creator of Legion.Law, Arthur Rothrock. Arthur, can you introduce yourself?
Hey, nice to meet you, everyone. I'm a litigation attorney turned CEO and co-founder of Legion.Law. Legion, really simply, is a litigation support platform that uses AI to draft pleadings, discovery, and motions, and they are fully formatted in nice Word docs. And I'm here to sort of help out and add a little bit of extra commentary on the platform. And fingers crossed that Murphy's Law is kind to us, and my platform does well for the live demo. So thank you for having me, Katie.
Let's do it. Okay, so I am having the same issue that I had before where it will not get out of full screen mode. There we go. All right, so we're first going to Legion.Law. And when you log in, this is the screen that you're going to see. And it's as simple as going to start a new matter. In this matter, the hypothetical is a healthcare company that hired a software company to build it some custom software. The software company didn't deliver, maybe knew it couldn't deliver, but took the money anyways. And so there's a demand letter that Arthur put together and a contract that we're going to use to draft this complaint today. And the name of the matter, let's call it Meridian Healthcare v. Quantum. And you select the jurisdiction, California. And in this case, it's in Santa Clara County. That's the venue in the sample contract that Arthur created. And let's create the matter. And it gives you a choice of what you want to draft. And today we're going to focus on a complaint. So we hit generate document. And then we go ahead and upload. And in this case, we have files that we created for an in-of-court presentation that we did not too long ago. So there's our sample agreement. And here's a demand letter that we already wrote. This would be similar to my workflow, right? When we first meet with the client, take the notes, get the documents together, and create a little demand letter. This tool that I'm showing you has transformed my practice because first, essentially the same price, maybe an extra hour using this complaint drafting tool, I'm able to send not just the demand letter, but the demand letter and the complaint, which is a huge cost savings to the client. All right, so while that's uploading, we can go back to our PowerPoint, and Arthur was going to tell us more about how to use Legion.
Sure. So it's pretty easy. You just upload whatever documents that you want. I typically recommend, think of it like a email to your associate. It's you are sending, here's all the documents that they would need to look at in order to do the task, and then you provide a little bit of extra color, like draft me a complaint at a minimum. I want to see a couple of these causes of action, and anything that's not really obvious from the provided source materials. Like if there isn't a demand letter and it's not very clear who you represent, you probably want to tell your associate who the client is and sort of what's going on in the case and what you need from them. And that sort of helps guide Legion in terms of giving you great output. And for the complaint builder specifically, it'll go through and take a look at all the facts, all the content, and then propose certain causes of action, which we'll see here soon. And then once
Let's
you're
see.
happy with those, it'll fire and start drafting your whole complaint. Looks like it's ready to go.
Okay, let's see that. So then we add in instructions. So I'm going to tell it draft a complaint for breach of contract. That's the main thing. We've uploaded the contract and the demand letter, and let's hit analyze case. And like you said, it's going to go through the causes of action that'll pop up here in a couple of seconds. So we can go back to our PowerPoint and talk about some of the risks of the use of AI. And, you all have probably heard about these hallucinations that is really not a bug, right? This is a feature of the software.
It has now come out from OpenAI that hallucinations are an intrinsic part of how this works. Like it is not something that they can fully ever correct. It's just a cost of doing business essentially. So the sooner you sort of get informed in terms of when these things might pop up and learn what best practices are for using AI, it helps a lot. The thing that I always recommend is AI is best used when you already have a good idea of what the output should look like. Otherwise, you spend a lot of time trying to fact check it.
Yeah. Verify but trust, not trust but verify when it comes to AI. Okay, let's see where we got. All right, excellent. So we told it draft a complaint for breach of contract, and we gave it those two documents and look at all of the causes of action it's suggesting to us. So I only told it breach of contract, but it caught breach of contract, fraudulent misrepresentation, and I told you that the facts of the hypothetical could actually support maybe a claim for fraud because the software company maybe knew that they couldn't deliver on what they promised. Negligent misrepresentation it caught. It's suggesting professional negligence, and it explains why. But I know, because I know what I'm looking for, that the facts of this case really don't support a claim for professional negligence. So I'm going to delete that. Breach of express warranty. Yes, there is a warranty contained in Article 7 of the agreement. It read that, it picked that up. I didn't tell it that. So I'm going to keep that. Breach of implied warranty of fitness. That makes sense to me as well. I'm going to keep that one. Merchantability. Yes, we're going to keep that. Negligence. We always want to include negligence. And intentional misrepresentation. That looks like it would be covered. Consumer Legal Remedies Act. I don't think that one applies. Good try. Unfair competition law will keep. No breach of fiduciary duty facts. Unjust enrichment works. Conversion is not going to work. And neither is intentional interference with contract. So let's delete those. So it leaves us with 10 causes of action. And then I hit draft.
Yep, go ahead and hit
And
draft. And one of the things that we do is we try to push Legion to give you a little extra. Even though the cause of action may not fit, we want people to sort of be thinking about it and be like, well, maybe that could fit. Let me go talk with the client and see if maybe there's some facts there that we could actually use and then allege this cause of action. So it's not a perfect system. It's mainly there as a thought-provoking tool in addition to hitting the main ones that are very clearly strongly alleged, but also giving you the option to think more deeply about some other alternative causes of action.
well, one time it suggested to me a cause of action that I didn't even know existed based on some statute that, I mean, I'm sure if I'd spent more time researching it, I would have found it, but it was beautiful. It was right there. And I was like, oh, great. Yes, click.
Right? It tells you
Okay.
right where to look. It's awesome. So you
Yeah.
do a lot of searching and learning. You're like, well, I don't know, but let me look up the statute, and then now you're already, off to the races.
Right. Okay. Well, let's see. Look what it did. So it gave us a little intro section, the nature of the complaint and the relief sought. And it gives you a sort of quick overview of what is the claim, just like you would be writing an intro to your complaint. And so you can, if you want to modify it, you can click into each one of these and edit as you see fit. I'm not going to edit that one because it actually works well. And then you can hit save or cancel out if you're not going to make any changes. It picked up on the section of who the parties are. Again, we didn't tell it this. It went and pulled these things out. And it mentions why we're in Santa Clara. Jurisdiction and venue, it covers why we're in Santa Clara and cites the correct civil procedure code of civil procedure sections. And then it gets into the statement of facts. And so this statement of facts was pulled from the demand letter we wrote. And then it also read the contract, correct?
Yep, that's right.
Okay. So what I like about this is that it's given me a work product that looks pretty similar to what a junior associate would give me insofar as it's nice and organized by topic. And it's got these bolded headings that let me know where we're going. Those are helpful. And same thing, you can click into any one of these paragraphs and edit as you see fit, and then hit save if you want to keep it. One of the benefits of this software versus other ones that I've used, I don't see any other ones where you get to manipulate the work product before you buy it. Most of those, they make you just buy it and then you manipulate it afterwards. Whereas this one, you can make it what you're looking for while you're working on it. So it came up with all those causes of action and it fills out, it's even got their realleges and incorporates by reference every allegation. And it covers all of the elements of each cause of action. Now, of course, you want to verify and then trust and make sure that it covered all of those and didn't hallucinate anything, because it could have hallucinated a fact, and you've got to watch out for that. So make sure you've read what you upload before you give it to the AI. All right, so I'll scroll down, avert your eyes, scroll all the way down to the bottom. It gave us a prayer for relief and what we're asking for in damages. Probably picked that up from the demand letter. And then it has the request for the jury trial. So that looks good to me. Good enough that if I were a junior associate, I would want to give this to the partner. And then you just click download. And right over here, it's going to upload while it's generating. And I think there was maybe one more topic we wanted to talk about while that's completing. So think of generative AI as your brilliant but unreliable first year associate. We're going into analyzing, not just analyzing text, but creating new texts. And if you don't know what you're doing, as Arthur said, and I will reiterate, it can be very, very dangerous. So in the hands of pro pers, it's an access to justice boon, I think, but still you have to know what you're looking for. So it's extremely powerful for litigators like Arthur and I who have been doing this for a long time, and it just saves the client a ton of time and money. And then finally, what is the power of this? Solves the blank page problem for me. That's a big issue. My associate left in May, and I didn't replace him because I don't need him anymore. Um, but we just wanted to show you this slide to make sure that you're aware of not only how powerful it is, as we can demonstrate, but the pitfalls of it, which we showed you at the beginning of this video. And then be aware of your ethical guardrails, right? Once you sign that document, it's your work and you're responsible for everything that's in there.
Yeah, the only thing I would add about the pitfalls is, it's tricky. If you don't give Legion enough stuff, then it'll kind of fill in the blanks a bit. But if you give it way too much stuff, we have some warnings in there whenever you're going to go over the context, which is the short-term memory of the model. If you try to give it, all of King James Bible, it's going to have a hard time remembering everything and actually giving you good output. So there is sort of like a Goldilocks zone in terms of how much context you give it, where you need to give it the contract and maybe a demand letter, like a client intake sheet. Maybe you just typing up a Word doc or transcribing a Word doc of like what the facts of the case are. You need to give it enough to sort of work with so that it doesn't fill in the missing pieces itself too much. And then like the other end of the spectrum, if you give it too much, it doesn't remember everything correctly because it's overwhelmed with too much stuff. So as long as you sort of keep it within that Goldilocks, that sweet spot, it reduces the chances of hallucination pretty significantly. And if you're sort of relying on it as a source of truth or asking it main questions, the way that I think about it, this is a very big oversimplification of how these models work, which is they're very much like advanced token predictors. They predict what the next word is going to be. There's a lot of context that sort of goes into that. But in general, just because a response is isn't the most probabilistically correct doesn't mean it's actually correct. So when you're dealing with something like a complaint, and these data sets have thousands and thousands of complaints in them with a negligence cause of action, it's going to get the elements of negligence correct most of the time. I don't think I have ever seen it mess up that sort of task because it's in its training data. It's been reinforced so many times. You're good there. But if you're dealing with something that's maybe a pretty obscure statute, like a municipal code, not a lot of people have written about it, it's probably not very present in one of these models. That's when you want to definitely take a little closer look because it may not be completely accurate.
Okay, thank you. Well, let's go ahead and purchase this document. What is the pricing, Arthur, currently?
Sure. So it's $10 per page of output, and we want to encourage people to go back and revise. So you can go ahead and download your complaint, send it to the client, and maybe some new stuff comes up, or maybe you sleep on it and you think, oh, I kind of want to go about this in a little bit different way. You can go right back into the workflow and revise it. And if there's no difference in pages, we don't charge you. If you added a couple pages, we only charge you the difference. I want to encourage people to come back, keep playing with it, use it, as much as you want, because I mean, I've lawyered, and the amount of times that I've gone back and revised things and slept on it and changed it, it's an iterative process, and we want to encourage people to do that.
Didn't know you could do that. That's way cool. You know what else is way cool? The output. Look, you guys, it came out on Please with my caption on it, and this looks good. And like he said, if there's something in here that you wanted to change, you go right back into the software. But
Yeah,
I'm
and
really happy with this output. And by the time I'm done playing with it in Legion and it's come out, this thing is ready to sign.
yeah, the other nice thing about it is, I really hated that a lot of AI platforms just sort of lazily output just raw text and there's no formatting or anything. But for all of the stuff that we give you, like for example, for this complaint, every single one of those paragraphs is actually a numbered paragraph that if you edit it and try to add a new paragraph, it'll work. If you have a new section you want to add, that'll work. So we apply styling to all the output, not only does it look nice, it also is functional and you can edit it very easily on your own in Word if you want.
That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much. I hope that our audience learned something today. I certainly did. And we'll see you for the next video where we're going to go over propounding and responding to discovery. Thanks, Arthur.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.